Okay, this is the first official installment. The last one was the unofficial installment of our show, which is going to include commentary, entertainment, amusement, some creative expression from the outside. Here we are as outsiders looking in. And that is what is going to be this song that I had done, the first song I ever felt really proud of. And it was done. The lights just went down. Turn the light back on, please. All right. Thank you. She's turning the light off on me. Isn't that great? Anyway, it's probably just a habit. Turn the light off on the outsider. They're going to look at this guy's face. Anyways, this song was written because of a situation that I had, which was very, very precarious. I'm sure everybody in their lifetime has been taken badly by a real professional grifter, con artist, what have you. And this is a song, a tribute to that episode and that individual, because I couldn't make anything else up about it. I couldn't really get very much more, mileage out of it than my experience, and so I thought I would express it. And it's a guy back in Minneapolis who was a very bad dude, very bad cat, and he kept sucking you deeper into his vortex, so to speak. So this song is appropriately called Mr. B as in Bad. And of course you could plug it in for anybody. B as in bad would be a woman, a man, a rhesus monkey, whatever is a bad machine. But anyways, this is just some background information about this song. And it's on my second album, and it goes, he's going to come at you like a long-lost cousin or lover, going to bring out the best and the worst in you one way or another. Long before God gave Moses his rod and his staff, about 1,000,000 years ago and a half, he was bad. Mr. B isn't bad. He's going to work, he's going to do, he's going to screw around through you like you never been had. He not cutting you no slack. B isn't bad. Watching nobody's back. B isn't bad. What you going to do in the deck and stack all the cards you lack? Buddy Blues got holes in his shoes. You're the petty his for house you lose. Hear the news. He's bad. Bang, bang, beep, beep to you, mister. He's B's and bad. B's and bad. B's and bad. B's and bad. He's going to work, you're going to do, you're going to scream right through like you never been had. Going to tell you row your own boat in the dead of winter chill. Walk out the door with your best winter coat, stick you with it, Bill. You be screaming, crying, shivering, say, man, that ain't quite fair. So take it easy, baby. Got the deal for you in your long gone underwear, cause he's bad. B's and bad. Unkept, unclean, like a grizzly band of cave. He'd rather be living in mortal sin than dying as your slave, cause he's bad. Mr. B is bad. Going to come at you like a long-lost cousin or lover, bring out the best and the worst in you one way or another, long before God gave Moses his rod and his staff. Ooh, about 1,000,000 years ago and a half. He was bad. Mr. B isn't bad. There's another sucker on his hook. Too bad you haven't read his book. Fillet of fish tastes pretty great. Too late. Very great you to swallow his bait, because he's bad. Mr. B isn't bad. B isn't bad. B isn't bad. You're going to work, you're going to do, you're going to screw around through like you've never been had. And I cut you in the slack. B isn't bad. Watching nobody's back. B isn't bad. What are you going to do when the deck is stacked all the cards you lack? Mr. B isn't bad. There's another sucker on his hook. Too bad you haven't read his full-length book. Fillet of fish tastes pretty great. Too late. Very gracious you to swallow his bait, because he's bad. Mr. B isn't bad. Not a bird don't peck at crumbs. You're going to take and get from me long before it comes, because he's bad. B isn't bad. B isn't bad. He's not cutting you in the slack. You're not watching nobody's back. His mama was whacked. He's got goodies behind his back for frontal attack, because he's bang, bang, beep, beep to you. Miss, now you're bad too. What you going to do when your bad stuff comes storming on through, because you're bad. B is bad. Everybody bad. She's bad. He's bad. They're bad. We're all bad. Baby, bad. B isn't bad. B isn't bad. B isn't bad. B is bad. So it comes like Beelzebub almost when you sing it, but it's a little bit different when you say it. Anyways, another one, which I'm proud of, and I don't have it all memorized yet, probably for the good. It's called Hard Driving Man. I wrote it for hard driving people who work very hard and are hard workaholics. In hay fields and open waters, clearing brush to work the land, he tends sheep upon high mountain top, drives herd through Rio Grande, rests briefly in the clover with a pinch of chew, his only friend, red man, and the heartache's never over. for a hard-driving man. He fishes day and night in deep-sea waters. His aching body works his plan, pushes hard to arm fall off their shoulders. Not unlike a well-cooked ham, there'll be no respite till sunup, then schools come in again. No peaceful sleep forthcoming for a hard-driving man. You see him watering the horses' flags, balls for sports grand slam. Out slinging hash on chain gang road crew, pays his debt to Uncle Sam. In his hell he finds no solace. It's his God's master plan. Another day of bone break work for a hard driving man. So when you see him on the highway over windswept sea and sand, show him loving kindness. He built the town you're living in, paved the roads you trample over. His dusty trail has no end, and the heartache's never over for a hard driving man, and the heartache's never over for he's one hard driving man. So then I promised you last time I would do a country western song. It made people cry. Some people cry when I sing it, and I didn't completely write it. I did work with it with another songwriter who was a crazy man, so I can't really work with him anymore, but he had some good nuggets of ideas, kind of like picking out a rough diamond out of the ground and working with it. And I worked with it with him, and I made it into sort of my own song, which I do sing on the streets, and it goes like this. I once was a young man who life dealt a bad hand. Slow country western, Fort Bar music. I once was a young man who life dealt a bad hand. I've been knocked down to my knees. Now and then you see me in soup lines. I've fallen in hard times. I'm glad my mom can't see me. I'm selling pop cans and plasma. I'm scarred up and battered. I ache from this life that I lead. I get my meds from free clinics. I'm warring with cynics. I pop some of those now and took some of these. I got me a dog for affection, sometimes protection. She's there through the night as I bleed. And I'm looking for a way out. I might take the jump off the high bridge route. Maybe then I get some peaceful relief because some town folk harass me. How they grimace as they pass me. They have their high-hat opinions about me, and they're free. I serve proudly, so boldly, but who could have told me about the things they'd ordered me to do? I kill men, I kill women, even some children, while waving the red, the white over blue. Now this war's about to destroy me. My country ignores me, what I wouldn't do for some peaceful relief. And my heart is abandoned, asleep where I'm standing. I'm glad my mom can't see me. And I'm drunk, a little dirty, I'm hungry and worried. I die every night in my dreams. Now it's bar rooms and alleys, no peaks, only valleys. I'm glad my mom can't see me. And I once was a young man who laughed all the bad, and I've been knocked flat down on my knees. Now and then you see me in soup lines. I've fallen in hard times. I'm glad for what my mama can't see. Oh yeah, I'm so glad my mama can't see me right now. And there's another part which, of course, I missed, which is my heart is a. Did I say my heart is abandoned? I sleep where I'm standing. I think I might have said that. I'm glad my mom can't see me. I get my meds from free clinics. I'm warring with cynics. Oh, you're playing my song. Oh, God, I'm going to cry. It is a sad song, and I've just gotten into sadness like nobody's business in the last 10, 15 years or so. I'm not sure if it's the weather or if it's just the mood that surrounds me or if I'm just going country western. I'm not sure. I have my theories. Anyways, here's another one that I'm proud of. I was just too high, and I wrote it here in Portland, and surprisingly enough, I know it's a big shock, and it goes like this. There's so little I find in this world to call mine. Mission marked incomplete, memos in triplicate. I cranked it up, I flipped the switch, I put it right in there. Still lost footnotes and dead files, skip trace to green miles. Word on the street stinks like yesterday's meat. Chalk it up to meteor flares. Better stamp the tag. Jot it down, sign right there, throw a flag, bait the bears. It's official. Without you, honey, nobody cares. But I don't want to ever look in your eyes, see a blank stare. Is there anybody in there, up there, out there, be there? Don't nobody care. That's why I came back one last time. Put my best hexy, sexy, voodoo, hipsy, gypsy, pickup rhymes on you because you're so fine. About blow my mind. All the plans should have made fell through. I can't lie. You be the apple in my eye. Try to quit you, but to get a nasty junkie flu. I just got toasted, triple roasted about a second ago or two on Gorilla Glue with Bobby, Tommy, and Drew. I could barely walk or talk or crawl to you. I was drooling too. Let me tell you why, because I was just too high for you, baby. Or maybe I was the wrong kind of high. What can I do? Now there's still too little I find in this old world to call mine. Mission marked incomplete, memos in triplicate. I cranked another one up, I flipped the switch, I put her in there. Still more lost footnotes and dead files. Skip trace to greener miles. Word on the street stinks like yesterday's meat. Chuck another one up to meteor flares. Stamp the tag, jot it down, sign right there, throw a flag, bait the bears. It's official. Without you, nobody cares. Pretty much how it goes. There's parts that are missing. There's other parts that I use and employ. One more, since we have 10 minutes of time here, and I know you probably don't have 10 minutes of attention span, but oh well, here I am. So you might as well suck it up while I'm here. This one is I wrote to see if I could write a song about love, and I'm not sure about love as far as believing it. I believe in lust and admiration, and if you put those two together, it can feel a lot like love, but I'm not sure what love. If people really know what love is, and half the people don't believe in it, and half the other people do have a believe in it. It's kind of like a religion. You can't really knock it, but you gotta question it. Anyways, this one's called Most Beautiful One. Tell me why it's a ballad. Tell me why is there not more room left in your heart, most beautiful one of them all. When you can be found, my whole world falls apart, most beautiful one of them all. It would sadden me greatly like a bridesmaid with daisies if you told me you love me not. Now I won't get my fill since I've lost my free will to the most beautiful one of them all. I'd send a quick cable as soon as I'm able to the most beautiful one of them all. And I'd tell you I'm fine while I'm losing my mind to the most beautiful one of them all. Because for a peck on the lips, that was one hell of a kiss. I thought I felt everything till I felt this. Whatever the stakes, I just can't resist the most beautiful one of them all. Nearly died by the phone awaiting your call, most beautiful one of them all. Where there could be a door, there's no entrance at all to the most beautiful one of them all. Though shaken and nervous, I'm still blood thick in your service where it here, because it led from the start when I tried walking your horses before hitching my cart to the most beautiful one of them all. Is that why there isn't any more room left in your heart, most beautiful one of them all? My one and my only must we be apart, most beautiful one of them all. No other so right. I'd rather lose in that fight for your sunspots of neon, star shine, and moonlight. You're what always still gets me through these cold, lonely nights, most beautiful one of them all. Tell me, why is there not more room left in your heart, most beautiful one of them all? When you can be found, my whole world falls apart, most beautiful one of them all. It saddened me greatly like a bridesmaid with daisies when you told me you loved me not. I won't get my fill since losing my free will to the most beautiful one of them all. Mirror, mirror on the wall, why are you so heart-stoppingly beautiful, mind-numbingly beautiful, hysterically beautiful, painstakingly beautiful, poisonously beautiful, most beautiful one, most beautiful one, most beautiful one of them all. There's another chorus to it, but that would cost you money. Anyways, 12 minutes and 51 seconds into this marathon. Do you have any questions? Anything you want to add? Send me something back, and I can give you something that you maybe can use or throw away in about 5 minutes. But I'm like at the end of my life here, very end of my life, and I don't have much time left. And so this is my life's work, and I've been trying to get it published. But as I've said in the first installment, you have a lot of people who are, who have a tight window of opportunity, and they're not interested in publishing you or having you on their show or having a discussion with you or having an interview or finding anything out about you because you're just such a loose cannon outsider. When I was downtown, one of the times I played there near Powell's and back, the Powell's bookstore, which is so understanding. I've been kicked out of there for life, by the way, for playing music on their porch. They did tell me that they give me a year probation after I pled with the top security guy there to, please let me back in the store. The punishment really doesn't fit the crime. But anyways, you get that a lot. You're just automatically 86. And of course, I've been 86 out of better places, many places. I'm an outsider. So, I'm a derelict according to some of these people who work downtown. I've been called a bum, some kind of a problem, pushed along like garbage, and that's just part of the turf. I can't complain about that. I'm not, 9 to 5. I'm not doing that scene. It's not me. And I think people get upset when they see somebody who's just hanging out, having fun, doing something that they can't do. and they have to wear a uniform, and I sit out there in a t-shirt and jeans or whatever it might be, and people are walking by and enjoying themselves. It's just too much for their sensoriums to stand. And so that's just what it is. Go Blazers, by the way. I don't know what they're going to do with Golden State, but they beat Denver, and hooray for them. I'm not really that into it. Not because most of the players are not the same color that I am, which has nothing to do with it, but because I just think it's sports is way, way overestimated, way overrated for the amount of gravity it has on society. It's the big game, I know, but if it's the big game, answer this question for me. Why is there another big game next week, next year, 5 years from now, 3 years from now, a year and a half from now, 6 months from now, 2 months from now? There's always the big game, and it's always, everything is on the line. Well, it isn't. These people are, making money on concessions, and they're having you make on parking and tickets and T-shirts. It's a business, and I have nothing, no problem with business, people getting over. I have no problem with the concept of wealthy basketball, football, baseball, soccer, whatever the players are doing. I think it's great that they're out there, using their bodies as projectiles and trying to, use their maximum physical prowess at the peak of their life, at the peak years of their life. But there are other things in life than just putting a ball in a hoop or kicking a field goal or and I'm gonna keep saying that because I don't really care what people have to say about it, and it's kind of like your little gang. I got on the train with a bunch of these guys last week after a game that they lost at the Moda Center here in Portland, Oregon. And everybody was in pink, or orange or whatever it might be. I mean, the whole train was suddenly, we were taken over by this. And I just mentioned this because I just can't believe it, They talk about eradicating gangs, but this is a big gang that just got on the train of people. If you were to, show some kind of disrespect to their group, you'd be like, mashed potatoes smashed on the tracks, I mean, forget it if you started trashing any of their players, on the train, It'd be like the end of your career, of your life. And so we're very silently kind of, but if you're in the right kind of gang, then gangs are good. If you're on our side, then you're on the right side of the equation. But if you're one of those other people in a gang, that are not the friendly gang, then you're on the short end of the stick. And so we really have to understand human, tendencies before we go in and try to destroy human nature and say, this is right, this is wrong, we're not going to put up with this anymore, we're going to only put up with that and this and that. We draw so many lines, and I remember Occupy was at Occupy in Portland, and back in, 2011, 12, I don't remember the year it was. And I was right there when they were serving people food, and they were just accommodating everybody with medical care, making sure everybody was safe. And this guy from a sports station starts doing a sports commentary for something that he was doing, and maybe he was just afraid to be there, or he had to just stick out somehow like a sore thumb. And I just wanted to walk up to him, and I never did, but I wanted to walk up and said, "What are you doing here? What is your function to come here and be, Joe broadcast for the sports channel? What does that have to do with Occupy? It has nothing to do with it." And I just wanted to take his microphone and throw it about 50 feet, And at that point, I kind of knew that things were going to be co-opted. Not long after that, the whole country, everybody in Portland, other places, the police just came in and they shut everybody down. All the mayors came to agreement, and we had Mayor, I think it was Mayor Adams, who was the mayor at the time, one of the worst mayors we've ever had, and he had his little sawed-off assistant who was doing all these horrible things to everybody in the city with all these new rules and speed bumps everywhere. And it was almost impossible to drive a vehicle, a car, or anything on the street after this guy got through it. They had these little curbs that would come out, jut out, where you'd hit the curb and your car would be destroyed. Very unfriendly for anybody, that was maybe in a motorized vehicle, trying to go from point A to point B. Oh, that's, so passé. So anyways, this mayor, he got all caught up in some scandal, and I guess he was gay, and he had a liaison with an underage page or assistant or something. Maybe he was 20 or 19, or I have no idea when it began. But instead of saying, this is what I am and this is how I feel, and I, just get out of my personal life, let me run the city. He was wringing his hands and trying to ward off all this press and didn't want to talk about it, and he was all, pinched face and. Come on, and then I had the right to play music downtown up against the wall. I went to these meetings with our council person, Mayor or Councilman Fritz, who no longer wants apparently to help our city any longer. I'm not sure if she ever was helpful to the city, but apparently they changed all the rules. They gave the Street Musicians Partnership to the clean and safe people who just happened to lose the last page of the partnership, which said we have some protection up against the wall, maybe even under an overhang, so we don't get trampled by the traffic going by. Well, I contacted our illustrious council person. She said, "Well, I don't handle that section anymore. I'm not involved in street." I do another service now with the city, but it's like it was on your watch, Commissioner, and you've lost credibility with me. I don't think I could ever vote for you. And for a very long time, I kind of thought about this, and I realized there's a part of her that was just, it was scaring me, because when I first had contact with her in these meetings, we were discussing various things, and she was very concerned about skateboarders downtown running her over and plowing into her and hurting her. And it's like at some point you have to kind of let things take its course. And so she was very adamant about bicyclists and skateboarders going on sidewalks, and forget about their protection away from the street and being in the street. All she was worried about was she getting run over on a public street as she's walking somewhere. Somebody's going to, just plow into her intentionally or lose control, all this worry, And I just at this point, I realized, I'm not dealing with an adult here. I'm dealing with somebody who has always that finger on the panic button, And she sold street musicians. She stole a lot of people down the river, and nobody really said anything. And I'm going to say something. And I'm going to say the fact that when I contacted them, her office, about being pushed around, being called a derelict, being told I had to move on a public street, that I was on public property, on a public sidewalk, that I was on private property on public sidewalk, by these gendarmes who came along, 20-something-year-old kids who were calling me names and screaming at me. When I contacted her and I got no response, then I checked and found out that they had taken the Portland Partnership with Street Musicians, which was supposed to give us some protections, that they had eviscerated it. They had basically taken out anything that was of any value for the street musician and totally tipped the scales to the business interests that they felt they had by tying our hands. I knew right there that I did not have a friend in her downtown. And I will say that with confidence. There are other things going on that are just baffling me and that are completely, crazy stuff that I would have never imagined. I'm almost afraid to go out there now, and with the climate that we have, since America's great again, I'm really feeling like a sardine squeezed in a sardines can. I don't feel like things are great, any greater now than they were. I feel people are more protective of whatever they are trying to hold on to, and as I am. And I'm, I never thought I had to fight so hard for so little respect and understanding and appreciation and humanity coming in my direction. And I'm getting humanity from a lot of people. I'm getting a lot of good feedback from people, not just on the street playing music, but from people in general. But the thing is, I was playing music over at the New Season. It's not New Seasons. It's the Whole Foods on Sandy Boulevard. And I know this is running long, but I'm gonna let it go here in a minute. And this one lady who sells the street paper, and I'm not going to say the name of the street paper because that's a whole other episode of things that I could complain about. But she's a very nice gal, and we had it out the first time I was there because I was playing music, and she came right up to me and started selling street roots right next to me. Oh, I just said it. Street roots, okay? That opens up a new can of worms because street roots is, they bring poster children of poor poster children, and they take their pictures like there's some kind of benevolent society. They're a profit-making non-profit that is in it to win it for just themselves. But anyways, this gal doesn't know all this, and she's selling the roots on the street out there, outside in front of where I'm playing music. And so, like, I seen her again. I thought, okay, I'll be nice to this woman. She has to make a living too. Everybody has to get over. There's plenty of room for everybody. Whole Foods, we're not really competing. I'm doing one thing, she's doing another. So one day I'm playing, and she comes up to my cup, and she puts $1 on the cup, and I thought, hey, this is the girl probably who can't afford to do that as well as some of the other people can, and she's a very, so I get love from places I would not have expected all the time, and I don't need to have love from everybody. I don't need to be loved by all. I'm just saying it's nice every so often, when you're out there putting yourself out there to feel like, you're not just being tolerated, that you're appreciated for what you do. And everybody has a cell phone. Everybody has a cell phone, so you really don't need to have security everywhere you look, because people can call up immediately and they can have security or police or anybody over in a half a click. But everywhere you go now, you have security. My goodness, we can't have somebody who looks like you on the premises walking through our building or whatever it might be. And this is really a dangerous kind of a place to go. It's a dangerous precedent that we're setting. It's a direction that I feel is very wrong, because people that I've met in my life who have been the most influential have been people that I had estimated, that I had thought, oh, this person can't give me anything of any value. They're just, bums or whatever it might be. That's all right. Well, that's a real another person here. So I'm actually not in the studio. I am at home here. So so you're gonna run into people. It's okay. I mean, but anyway, so this idea. Okay, like when I hitchhiked from Minneapolis to Chicago, and then I took an Amtrak to New York because I pussed out. I couldn't take the whole trip. It was too much. I was tired. I couldn't find the interstate to New York. I couldn't find it in downtown Chicago. I was by the tracks at the loop, So I went down. Forgive me, but anyways, I met this guy who was at the shelter I was staying at, because I was telling my dad that I lived at this really nice hotel. So I'd see him, and he dropped me off at this hotel downtown St. Paul, Minneapolis, St. Paul, and then I'd take the bus, to the shelter, or I'd walk to the shelter, which was 2 miles down, and I thought to myself, okay, like this shelter was really cool back then. It was in the 80s, and you actually had your own room. They let you in at 6 or 7 o'clock, so you wouldn't freeze to death, and you could stay until 7 or 7:30 in the morning.
How generous!
Yeah, well, it's okay. It was, for a shelter, it wasn't bad. And you had your own room. You could get some sleep. And this guy in the morning, we're out. He wants to drink some beer, and so he hands me a beer, and we're walking around, just walking away from the shelter, just to get away from the place, And we're right by the interstate highway, I remember, and he starts hitchhiking. And I said, "What are you doing?" He says, "Well, I can always come back here." And I realized that makes complete total sense. I can always come back here. What am I leaving?
Nothing.
And nothing, really, and nothing of any consequence. And so I said, wait, hold on, let's just plan this thing a little bit. Let's, get things together. We'll go tomorrow, and I'll come with you. And so he and I went, and this guy turned out to know stuff about art that, he was an incredible mind. He looked like, he looked like Methuselah. His hair was all over the place. He had long, he made Duck Dynasty look like like a bunch of, like Boys in the Hood. I mean, they were, like boys, like, what is that other band? That other boy band? Backstreet Boys. I mean, this guy was just like, hillbilly, but he was one of the more intelligent people I've ever met in my life. And he knew a lot about everything. And we were going into Goodwills, and we were buying and selling stuff to keep the journey going, because it's not like you can just hitchhike to Chicago from Minneapolis. You take a lot of little side roads, and sometimes you'll walk 10, 15, 20 miles a day, not get a ride, like we did into Cadott, Wisconsin, and there was no ride forthcoming. And so this guy was he knew stuff that I couldn't even begin to express to you, but he was one of the most intelligent, sweetest guys I've ever met. And maybe he had a drinking problem, I'm not going to hold that against him, but anyways, getting back to another person that I met, when I got back from New York, I had nowhere to live. Maybe not New York, it might have been another trip I'd taken. I think it was Madison, Wisconsin. When I got back from Madison, Wisconsin, I came into Minneapolis, and I went to a food shelf, and they had a meal. It was off of like Fifth Avenue, off of there's a street. I can't remember the street in Minneapolis, but it's a street that goes to the university. You take a 2 bus to the. Anyways, I'm sitting there, and I'm eating my meal, and it's shelter food. It's not any good. I had nowhere to live, and I happened to mention that somebody had mentioned something about something, and so it brought up, hey, I got nowhere to live right now. I just got into town. And so this guy he was a Lakota, he says, well, you can stay at my apartment until you find something. And his name was Lewis, and I'm not going to give you his last name, but Lewis was the kind of guy, he looked like, your stereotypical city Indian who, long hair, diabetes, bad physical shape, very tall, but Lewis was like, he'd go to these meetings, like a meeting, any meeting, pick a meeting, like a function where you have people in there discussing a problem, like a school meeting, or a meeting about some people work, they get together to discuss problems of any kind. And he would attend these meetings, and people would look at him like, what is this guy doing here? What does he want? Is he just spying on us? Well, after a third or the fourth meeting of attendance, he'd be like the chairman, because the guy just knew. He knew things that he was so intelligent that but anyway, he got me an apartment at where he was living, and then he moved out, because he could do better. And we weren't like lovers or anything, so but he was he took me to down to Red Wing, to the Nakota reservation, and they had been told by the power company they were going to build a coal burning plant on the reservation, and it turned out to be a nuclear power plant. And then he'd had me meet the tribal chairman, and the tribal chairman when we met him, he came up with work boots on, dirty work boots. I thought, who is this guy? Where's the chairman? Well, this was the chairman, right? And so Lewis is kind of chuckling, because he realizes I expected someone different, as I had expected somebody to look different with him when I first met him. Because I was about appearances, as like everybody else was about appearances, before, at some point when I was a young man. And so so this chairman tells us that the tribe was talked into building a casino where they'd be making a lot of money. They'd be getting a lot of benefits from this casino. And the only place they could build a casino was on this gentleman's land, which was the only flat land on the reservation with enough, drainage where they could, build this project. And so he said, I don't want a casino on my farm. I'm doing fine as it is. And so what the tribe did was they threw him in jail for 3 days. They tore down his farm. They ripped everything down, and then they built this casino against his will. And so instead of counting coup on his enemies, this tribal chairman, who wasn't tribal chairman at the time, ran for office to become a tribal chairman, and is now the tribal chairman. And he patrols his casino where we were at, where we met him at the casino. He patrols, calls his casino. So where else are you going to meet people like that, you know? But he just got power, and now they can't pull anything on him, like, or on his tribe, like they were doing. They can't, you know, they can't just tell you anything and then build it, you know, because this is tribal land. It's a sovereign nation land, and so I'll finish this with a song, and it goes like this. One bird song, hungry for their mother. One bird song seeks shelter on the docks. One bird song is warring on their brothers, and one bird song is beating all the clocks. One bird song pledged loyalist devotion as one bird song is praying to their rock. One bird song is causing all commotion as one bird song is preaching to the flock. One bird song so meek, hurt, and tired as one bird song all fake giddy and aglow. One bird song flip-flopping in the mire. One bird song flat nothing left to show, and one bird song found their message in the bottle. One bird song cast wishes to the sky. One bird song tell you a real good true story you feel about here just by looking in their eye. One bird song high pripping on the wire as one bird song too slowly to make the kill. One bird song tried putting out the fire as one bird song nor the confidence been stilled. One bird song reach around the ocean. One bird song out sailing the seven seas. One bird song is poetry in motion. One bird song waits patiently for me. So give me one sweet, yummy treat, toot sweet, freedom, eagle, seagull, bird song for that open, dusty road for old times, old times. Don't forget to save the hippies from extinction, screaming to fly to me and you. When you're shaking and you're baking and you're frying, you're crying, and bad at the fat cats too, because they're gunning for you. They got a slick new crew. It's a witch's brew. Don't get the goomy, don't get that gunk on you, don't get the fat cat food, don't do what the fat cats do, and save that hippie, screaming to fly to you. When you're shaking, you're baking, you're frying, you're crying, and bad at the fat cat stew. One bird song, singing for their supper. One bird song, make sweet love to the land. One bird song, day tripping on the storm cloud. Two flood clans, cooling watercolors on these sands. One bird song, reaching for the ocean. One bird song, out looking for the sea. One bird song, is poetry in motion. One bird song, sing sweetly back to me. Free to love, like a loving, loving, lovey-dove. When are you free to love? Save the hippies, metalheads, headbangers, outlaws, hells angels, freaks, dreamers, gutter punks, gypsy jokers, heavy smokers, brown, black, pink, panthers, cross-dressers, crips and bloods, monks, ladders, strippers, sick boys, hot mamas too. Everybody built these cities, just me, like me and you. Yeah, save the hippies from extinction and free to love, like a loving, loving, lovey-dove. Free to love, when are you free to love? Thank you.